All right, so in the last video, I went over Dickie's necessary and jointly sufficient conditions on being an artwork. And we looked at the first one, what it meant for something to be an artifact. Now, let's tackle this big second condition in which he says to be an artwork, something has had conferred on it the status of a candidate of appreciation by some person or persons acting on behalf of the social institution of the art world. So let's pick this apart and start at the end and just get a grasp on what Dickie means by the social institution of the art world. Now, he's borrowing this idea of the art world from Danto, whose essay about the art world we just read. So he just means this general social institution, this organization that's composed of different people who play different roles in that institution, like artists, art critics, museum curators, the folks who decide what pieces go in a museum and what are going to be displayed, professors, estheticians who write about art. All these things comprise the art world. And this is just one of many different social institutions. So here's some other examples. So there's the social institution of academia. That's this socially constructed thing that consists of professors and students and deans and administrators. Another social institution is government. That's constructed out of things like legislators and voters and judges and administrators, or a church. That's another social institution that's comprised of deacons or parishioners or priests, or maybe it has some other structure if you're thinking about a different church. But these are all social institutions that exist in virtue of all of these different people playing different social roles within that institution. So now we've got this notion that an artwork is something that has had a special status conferred on it by a social institution. So we can see with some of these other social institutions, they all confer different statuses on people as well. So for example, I myself, I have a doctor of philosophy, a PhD. Well, what is it that makes it true that I have a PhD? Is it something about me? Is it something about like how much I know about philosophy? No, there's plenty of people who know a lot more about philosophy than I do, but they don't have a PhD in philosophy. There's also plenty of people who have PhDs in philosophy who are not as skilled as philosophers as I am. But, what are you going to do? No, what makes the difference about whether you're a PhD or not is whether you have had that PhD degree conferred on you by a social institution. If you've had the right people who play the right social role, other professors, other PhDs, deans and administrators get together and go through the process to confer upon you a PhD, that is what makes it true that you have a PhD. Same thing with, say, being married. What makes it true that people are married is if, well, the right people playing the right social roles within a social institution get together and agree and confer upon people the status of being married. Same thing again with being president. There's nothing particularly the case about Donald Trump that makes him the president because he is how he is. No, he is president because there's the social institution consisting of voters and electors and legislators who all work together in a way that confer upon him the status of being president. And what Dickie is claiming is that artwork works the same way. Something is an artwork if it has had conferred upon it the status of an artwork by the social institution of the art world. It has nothing to do with the intrinsic properties of that piece of work itself. So we'll see in the next video how that process plays out.